June 17th, 1775 AD, the Battle of Bunker Hill. On June 17th, 1775 AD, the British Army defeated the United Colonists at the Battle of Bunker Hill, but it wasn't an easy victory for the British. The colonists, led by Major General Israel Putnam and Colonel William Prescott, along with 1,200 men, dug into the positions at Bunker and Breed's Hill, preparing for the British invasion the night before. The militiamen spent all night and into the next morning digging fortifications, mostly around Breed's Hill, which didn't go unnoticed by the British Navy, but by the time they began to bombard the hill, the men were already dug in deep. Their earthen trenches were well over 6 feet deep. The bombardment from nearby Copp's Hill did, however, reveal a weakness in the colonist lines, which led William Prescott to order a construction of a breastwork which ran down the eastern side of the hill. British General Henry Clinton wanted to have his men storm the hill right around sunrise and quickly strike the colonists, but was outvoted 3-1 by Generals Howe, Burgoyne, and Gage. General Burgoyne felt that the untrained rabble defending the hills were no match for his well-trained troops. General Howe felt that his soldiers could easily take the hill without any problems. General Thomas Gage was surveying Breed's Hill and saw Prescott's brother-in-law, Abijah Willard, who was a loyalist in the camp. He asked him, "Will he fight?" Willard replied, "As to his men, I cannot answer for them, but Colonel Prescott will fight you to the gates of hell." General Howe was to lead the taking of the hill, and it took them 6 hours to organize an assault force. General Robert Pigot would lead the direct assault, with Major Pitcairn and his Marines bringing up the rear. Prescott, seeing that the British were preparing to storm Breed's Hill with over 3,000 soldiers, called in for reinforcements, and over 1,000 were brought in to man the fortifications led by Dr. Joseph Warren. Colonel John Starks, along with a couple of hundred militiamen, manned the breastworks on the eastern side. The assault on Breed's Hill began at 3 o'clock. The soldiers were supposed to be supported by artillery fire, but they were armed with the wrong type of ammunition. Howe ordered the town of Charlestown to be burned down. The smoke from the fires blew into the other direction, not interfering with the battle, but creating a strange atmosphere. To save ammunition, the colonists were ordered by Colonel Prescott to not fire until you see the whites of their eyes. The eager colonists fired upon the British soldiers. They kept firing their rifles until the barrels glowed red, but when the powder and shot began to run out, many of the colonists began to break rank. Despite the heavy casualties inflicted upon the British Army, the soldiers regrouped for a second and a third assault on Breed's Hill, while the colonists began to panic when they saw a professional army in action. The third and final assault was fought with bayonets, as the British soldiers were able to take the hill by force. The remaining colonists, who didn't run after the second wave, were fighting for their lives against a professionally trained army, well skilled in hand-to-hand combat. The last of the retreating soldiers was led by John Starks, who had an orderly and well-organized withdrawal that impressed General Burgoyne. The only colonists that were caught by the British were either gravely or mortally wounded. Sadly, Dr. Warren was killed during the final assault, as was Major Pitcairn, who was killed during the final charge of Breed's Hill. The British now controlled the Charlestown Peninsula, but it came at a high cost. The army suffered over 1,000 casualties, and 34 officers and sergeants were killed. General Henry Clinton wrote in his diary about the battle, "A few more such victories would have shortly put an end to British domination in America."